Hey guys, what's going on? Ryan here from Indy Wrestling School. I'm joined here by Matt Tremont.
Thank you for having me.
As the founder of H2O Wrestling, what we wanted to talk to you today about is being a promoter in 2018. What are some of the hard things when it comes to promoting a wrestling show in 2018 versus maybe when you got started in the business?
You'd think it'd be easier now, but I really think it's even harder than ever.
Right.
Especially in this area of South Jersey, there are so many quality wrestling promotions now. I think that's the biggest difference from when I first started in the business 11 years ago till now. There was a few quality promotions, and the rest were, I guess, the shindy wrestling companies.
Yeah, the ragtags.
They got, they're kind of just there.
Yeah.
But now, all the promotions, at least in this area, everybody's, putting out a quality product and, doing good business and drawing. So you really have to really find what your product is so you can kind of differentiate and separate yourself from the other promotions, so you're not doing the same thing everybody else is doing, not using the same talent. That's probably my biggest thing now, is finding what the H2O product is and bringing in talent that isn't in this area, because the biggest thing I find now is it's a lot of the same guys working the same shows. Right. So it's, I don't want to use those guys. Nothing against the most talented people in the world, but, what's making
you
someone...
You got to give the people something different.
100%.
Right?
Why are you going to come to H2O if I can see this guy at, this promotion, why are they going to pay their money to come to, H2O when they could see that guy the next week or the week before at another company? So I think that's my biggest task now, is finding the right talent, to really present the best product we can. Right now I got a carload coming in from upstate New York every month of guys that aren't working elsewhere in this area, and I have a car every show that we run coming in from Ohio, and pretty much all those guys aside from one don't work the area. Okay. And those are those guys now are really key players into what we're trying to do, so we're doing something different and presenting something different overall.
Sure. Now you mentioned dealing with people you've run into on the indie scene. You've been around for quite a while. Do you find that it's hard to say, hey, I know we're close and all, but I can't use you on this show, or how does that work for you?
Yeah, I mean, you have your buddy. Everybody wants to book their buddies,
exactly,
and have a good time, and I have those guys. Thankfully, my buddies, they're very talented, so it's not because when I first broke in and working those smaller promotions in the area, it was kind of guys that just they're doing it for a hobby, just for fun, and there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. But a lot of times these guys, because it's not 24/7, they're not the most talented people in the world. And I hate to say anything that, but luckily the guys I have on my shows, very good friends, and they're very talented. But it always kind of been my motto as far as how I book. I don't care if you're the most talented guy in the world, and I don't care if you're my best friend. I never bring in anybody into any promotion I'm working with if you're a headache or cause any kind of drama. I don't care if Meltzer's giving you 5 stars every week. I want to create a good atmosphere in the locker room, a good morale, and hope that'll generate in the locker room and in the ring as well. But haven't had to run into that too much.
Right. So now, again, when you started H2O, you were already well established. You've been CZW champion, you've been to Japan, you've been all over the place. Everybody kind of knows Matt Tremont. Do you think that's a hindrance, or do you think that's been a benefit when it comes to starting your own promotion?
100% a benefit. I believe if I was just kind of a regular Joe Schmo kind of coming into business, and it's already a lot of work, but it would be, I think, 10 times harder. Over the 11 years I've been in as a performer and as a promoter, aside from accomplishments and accolades, to me, that's, at the end of the day, it doesn't mean anything. The biggest thing I've done in 11 years is building a good rapport with the fans and the boys, and doing good business with promoters and everybody over the course of those 11 years, and establishing a good relationship with them and the fans. Without the fan support, I know it's cliche to say, without you guys, but it really is. And I'll usually make announcements before every H2O show, and I tell the fans, we thrive and survive because of you guys. H2O doesn't have a bunch of money marks or, sponsorships or anybody feeding the company money. We truly thrive and survive off that $20 that they come to see H2O live and emotionally invest into the product and what we're trying to do. And without them, I'm not running, I'm not working, and I'm not, putting food on the table, and I wouldn't be able to travel and do all these things if I didn't have the fan support. So they honestly 100%, have us thrive and survive, and we're able to do what we do and run every other month to do H2O because of them.
So you've worn a lot of hats in pro wrestling. You've been a booker, a promoter, obviously a wrestler. You have your own store, Bulldozer Collectibles, here in Berlin, New Jersey. What is your favorite part of the wrestling industry? Like, what job do you prefer?
It's definitely changed over the last few years. When I first broke in, it was wrestling, but my first, instant, of the business, my first show I ever wrestled on was a show I promoted. Okay. So I came into the business wrestling and promoting. I enjoyed, booking a card and promoting something. So I literally I took my old backyard wrestling promotion, EZW, turned it pro. My first match and show I ever did was Extreme Zone Wrestling in a little karate dojo, Mays Landing. And I promoted it and sold tickets and booked the card and everything. So coming into the business, I already had some sort of knowledge. A lot of things I would have done differently, but I learned as I went along the way. But it was always wrestling in the beginning, even up until the last few years. And then, 2013, I joined up with my buddy Jeffrey Kane, and we launched On Point Wrestling. I did all the promotional stuff. He was the booker. So I learned a lot in the last 5 years promoting that company and gained a lot of knowledge of what to do and what not to do. And then in the end, knowing at the end of the day, it was always his baby. So I wanted to venture off and do something of my own. And H2O was something I always wanted to do. I think that now, at 11 years, January 27th was 11 years in wrestling. And now my biggest satisfaction, the same satisfaction I would get after a good match or, just up and down and working the road now is booking and promoting. I really enjoy the entire process of booking a card, doing all the promotional stuff. You see, I'm posting something online 20 every minute of every day, but I truly enjoy promoting the product. And because for me personally, I've accomplished, aside from a few things, I've accomplished everything I've ever wanted to do in pro wrestling. I'm very, thankful for that. But now I get the same satisfaction after a good match, after a show, and everything goes well, and the angles and the storylines went well, and the fans had a good time, and giving other people opportunity, because without the opportunities promoters gave me, coming up, I wouldn't be able to do a lot of these things. So I get a good satisfaction of, doing all this stuff, having it come to fruition, and giving other wrestlers opportunity to, make a name for themselves, make some money, and, that puts a smile on my face at the end of the night.
In your dream scenario, where do you see H2O going in, let's say, 2 to 3 years?
I think, we're a year and a half in right now. And we ran 2 shows our first year. Last year we ran 8. So, short-term goals now is, we're running every other month in this market. This year we'll at least run, 8 shows in New Jersey, and we've already started to, branch off into different markets. We're going to run Ohio this year, North Carolina this year. So that's been my major goal, and that goes back to, I don't want to say oversaturated, but South Jersey kind of is. There's a lot of promotion. So my main goal is to branch out and run different markets, run as much as we can here, run to other, different places. And eventually we're going to go, the goal is to outgrow the building. But I really like what we have at the OTW Arena in Williamstown. There's a good aura, good atmosphere. It has a lot of ECW arena vibes. It's just a rustic old warehouse in the middle of Williamstown, and I love it. But I think just continue to run more. Content is key. So if you run more shows, we're building up more content. We're selling more DVDs. We're selling more downloads. We've some TV things in the work with like local syndication. Try to work on. I guess, but the biggest thing is just run as much as possible. Continue to put on a good product and grow. And get the name out there. And at the end of the day, it's a wrestling business, and then we're in business to make money. And I, got to make money to pay the bills and keep the company going. And I want the boys to make money.
Absolutely. So, if anybody's out there who maybe wants to start their own wrestling promotion, what's the one thing you would tell them, having learned what you've learned over the past couple of years? Maybe a do or a don't.
It is a lot of work, and You know, at the end of the day, I know, you know, companies will have teams of guys doing things. At the end of the day, it's really myself and my wife that helps out with a lot of things, and a few others. But, you know, build up a team, because there's a lot of things to do to put on the show. Just, you got to rent a ring and find a building and promote and set up cameras and have it shot and, you know, promote. So if you can, you know, finding guys that you can trust, build that team around so you can give guys different jobs to do. You know, some guy's going to film, he's going to promote for you. Finding a key team, you know, to work together so you can get all this stuff done is key. And, you know, try to keep the fanboy inside of you. You know, everybody wants to book, you know, all the hottest stars, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think the biggest thing I see a lot now is there's a lot of young promoters in the business, and it kind of just seems like it's fantasy world. I think you got to look at it as a business. People say there's no money on the independents, and I think that's 100% complete, you know, BS. I'm not making millions of dollars, but, you know, for the last 4 years, I've, you know, consistently been on the road and, you know, pay my bills with independent wrestling. Many hats. It's a lot of work and a lot of hustle. And I haven't had to work a regular 9-to-5 job in over 4 years, but that's running this store, promoting wrestling. It's a constant 24/7 hustle.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm my own boss and make my own hours and get to wake up and go to, you know, whenever I want to. But as far as, you know, launching a promotion, definitely find, you know, those, if you have a couple good buddies, and get everybody on the same page and go into the venture as a business and try to make money. So many people throw so much money out there, and they're cool with it. I'm like, any venture I've ever jumped into, I've never went in with the mindset of, I'm going to run this show, and if we lose thousands of dollars, it's okay. That boggles my mind. I'm not going to go into any venture, and I'm going into, all right, you know, let's make some money. Let's, you know, be tactical and, you know, have everything. It's it. At the end of people make wrestling out to be rocket science. It's not. There's a formula that's worked for a long time. You can stick your spoke in and change the game a little bit, but it works. And if you do it right, you can be successful.
Awesome. Matt, I want to thank you for joining us here on Indy Wrestling School. We're going to list all the H2O dates coming up. Fantastic. Where can people find H2O if they want to check you guys out?
H2OWrestling.com, Facebook.com/hardcorehustle.org. We're on Twitter, we're on Instagram. And
you're all over the place. We'll put the links below the video. Thank you guys for joining us. Please subscribe below.
Thank you.